First of all, my sincere apologies, everyone, that I can't be there in person due to family and health reasons. It was just impossible. I'm very sorry. I would have loved to come. And yeah, I hope you guys are gonna have a great week. And I'm of course jealous that I can't be with you. But I think that from the ClimTip side, still with Sebastian and Kurt and everybody else there, everything will be in extremely good hands. I just give the intro and then hand over to Sebastian to sort of not destroy this sort of really in-person feeling that you guys are having. So yeah, what is ClimTip? Climate tipping points, the main overall title, uncertainty-aware quantification of climate tipping potential and climatic, ecological, and socio-economic impacts. It's designed to be complementary to TIP ESM, as Shooting just introduced it. And yeah, we have 1 year of experience of working very nicely together and having very nice synergies. And I'm very much looking forward to continue that. We're 24 partners from 13 different countries across 3 continents, including China, so the Asian continent, and the US, the World Bank, and just in a few bullet points. So we started in March 24, so a bit more than a year ago, and will then run for 4 years. And so let's say 4 main aims that we have is to improve the mathematics, the underlying theory of tipping elements, and there is a presentation in ESMs. To constrain as far as possible, and it's tough, the position of critical forcing thresholds, to identify safe operating spaces, or to see to what extent that is actually possible, or maybe the uncertainties are so large that it is not. But that's of course also important information. Then we want to do high resolution simulations of impacts of major tipping events and see how it really investigate the consequences on other climate subsystems, but also very strongly focusing on ecosystems and biodiversity and society and economy, and in the later work packages. And with all this, the aim is that we provide useful knowledge for ongoing IPCC reporting processes. And those are the 4 major tipping elements that we decided to work on: the Greenland ice sheet, the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, the Amazon rainforest, and the West Antarctic ice sheet, both to the extent possible from an observational side, but also from a modeling side. And with that, I would hand over to you, Sebastian, and these are exactly your slides, so you could also just go through them like
Yes, I was going to suggest that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, so welcome and thanks for the invitation to the great place here and all the support. And because we all work on the same, more or less the same aims in related projects, I think it's really great to have this joint conference and not stay separated in individual projects. I think that makes a lot of sense. And on the remaining slides, I just point out what are slight differences of focus in ClimTip for those who work in TIP ESM who might not know, and show 2 or 3 glimpses into results, and then let's let science speak for itself in the remaining days. So one slight difference is one of our work streams. So several work packages are always in one work stream. We have 5 work streams. And a difference is we have some focus on fundamental mathematical theory, also involving machine learning in work stream 1, where we really work with more or less conceptual models. And this is one example about rate-induced tipping, where you can have some, maybe I can use the mouse here. Yes. And so on the top, you see some ensemble members make a transition away, and some other ensemble members, wow, we have 2 mouses, perfect. And the blue ones, the large blue mouse, are the ensemble members who don't tip. And in the classical early warnings, that would be like autocorrelation variants, they are not really made for this situation. They cannot distinguish these cases. That's not what they're made for. But with a machine learning method, sometime before this separation, one can predict it. So that's one of the recent results. And Niklas, if you go to the next slide. Thanks. So that's workstream 2. I'm very excited to see from TIP ESM the simulation results. We are also doing related simulations. It will be interesting to compare. So yeah, we focus on these 4 systems, and especially regarding AMOC and Amazon rainforest. We want to study impacts and how they could tip in complex models now. What we don't do is kind of see what happens experiments. So we always intend to impose the tipping and then see, in case they might happen, what are the repercussions in the climate system. So these are similar simulations as shooting. I mean, it's not a coincidence. We coordinated somehow the protocol. But the difference here is we have concentration-driven models, but they mimic the same situation. And then we go to warming of 2 degrees. And then here we have several cases. So one without tipping, and then you can impose, for example, Amazon rainforest removal, and then see what happens in that case. Yeah, so that's going on at the moment. And next slide, please. Then workstream 3, what we want to do is we will downscale these simulations. There will be statistical downscaling for the entire globe to ERA 5 resolution. So we will have higher than usual resolution of tipping point impacts, and we can run impact studies on that. And there will also be dynamical downscaling that's already running in some selected regions around the globe. Next slide, please.
Maybe let me just say
Yes.
one thing. So the statistical downscaling we do with generative machine learning, and the method that we're going to use for that has been invented by Philip Hess, and the paper about it has just been published, I think, beginning of last week. So I think that's also for if in TIP ESM, if there is interest in global scale downscaling, we would be very happy to collaborate with these kind of modern methods.
Yeah. Nice. So these are methods that can take several variables into account, that they are also consistent, for example. So that's very exciting. Workstream.
Maybe one last thing, what is also maybe very interesting for TIP ESM is they do not really depend on the Earth system model or climate model that you use for input. So basically, we have trained on observational data, and you could, in principle, just plug in any Earth system model simulation that you have, and it would work out of the box.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. So then, using this data, we'll do some impact assessments similar to TIP ESM, for example, with vegetation models, where you can force it by the climate response to the imposed tipping, and then see what that means for crop yields, for example, in some regions, or also economic conditions, for example. And workstream 5 is apart from the management. So the next slide. Apart from the management, some outreach activities. We recently had a workshop with climate activists who also talk about similar questions that we'll have tomorrow. So what's the role of what do people expect from climate sciences, and how should we communicate, for example? We might also do that again for a different part of the political spectrum and see what happens there. It was very insightful. So this was in German because it happened in Munich, but we might do other things elsewhere. We are preparing a podcast, so we are always also looking for input and interview partners, for example. We're preparing some teaching material. So yeah, do I have a next slide? I think I have a final slide. No. Okay. I had one, I think. Did you hide it, Niklas? Yes, thank you. So the breakout sessions we'll have in the joint conference, they are ordered by tipping elements, but so it would be good, we already identified some common themes. It would be good to, if you have this in mind, simulation protocols, I think, are more or less finished, but data sharing, can we use each other's data? That would make a lot of sense, I think. How can we join in some outreach and communication activities, and of course in future scientific ideas? And just a few final remarks just for the ClimTip members here. Our GA breakout sessions on Wednesday afternoon, it's kind of grassroots, so enter your ideas in the tab in the spreadsheet, and then we see how we break up. And the second one is, there will be a separate list or in the ClimTip GA where you sign that you are there and that you agree with photos used only in the ClimTip GA, so that's a separate thing that will be coming. And if you have organized, again for ClimTip GA, if you have organized the workstream sessions already, that's fine, but be aware you can, or maybe it makes sense to upload all the slides also on our ClimTip Google Drive for our GA, then we can, in the other room, also share from there. That's it. Thanks very much. Niklas, last words?
Have a great conference.
Okay, thanks.